Hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you yet again. And today we're looking at iReady lessons. Specifically, we're looking at the iReady lesson practice, add and subtract rational numbers. All right, so before we get going on this second video that we've done for today, I do want to remind you that this is the second video. So if you did not watch the first video, please go back and do that because I go into a lot more details about the number line and fractions on the number line and things like that. Okay, so you'll be missing out if you did not watch the first video. All right, so here we go. So we are given this number line. Just a reminder, everything to the right of 0 is positive. Everything to the left of 0 is negative. And if we're going to the left, that means we're either subtracting a positive or adding a negative. If instead we were going to the right, that would have been adding a positive or subtracting a negative. All right, so this first one, they're asking us just to match. It's not too bad, right? If you take a look, you will see here is 0 and here is 1, which means we have fractions. Now, they did not tell us what those fractions were. There's a little hint that those are sixes, but if we didn't know that, we could count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to go 1 unit takes 6 steps. So these are 6. So if we take a look at where we're at right here, we are at 1/6 on the positive side. And if we take a look at how far we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We went 5/6 in the negative direction. And since we are adding, we're adding negative 5/6. And where did we end up at? Well, let's see here. -1/6, -2/6, -3/6. We're at -4/6, which, by the way, they did not simplify. But if we took those 6 and took 2 of them at a time, that would be 1/3, that would be 2/3, right? And that would be 3/3. So it's actually equal to -2/3, but they didn't even give us that as a choice. So what are we looking at? We're looking at 1/6 plus -5/6 is -4/6. That one right there, okay? Okay, if we go on to the next one, now they're giving us decimal numbers, okay? So again, we're starting on the negative side. If you take a look, we're starting at -2, and decimal numbers go by tenths or hundredths or thousandths. These ones go by tenths, right? If you count from -2 to -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each of these are tenths, and that's 1, and then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So if you look at what we did, we went plus 1 and 5/10, right? 1 and 5/10 is the same as 1.5. So where did we start? We started at -2 and we added 1.5. Sorry, I should have done that, just plus 1.5 like that. And where did we end up at? We ended up at -0.5, which, by the way, is the same as -1/2. This right here would be the same. Well, we added right there. That would be -1 and 1/2. But I digress. So what was the problem we were looking for? We were looking for this one right here, right? -2 plus 1.5 ended up at -0.5. All right. Okay, which addition problem matches the number line? Now, again, if you take a look at our number line, how many spaces do we have, or how many markings do we have between any two whole numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are fourths. Of course, they all indicate that we're fourths. Where are we starting at? Well, here is 0. Here is 1, right? So we're less than 1. So this one would be 1/4. This would be 2/4. This would be 3/4, right? So we're starting at 1/4. And then we're going back, and when you go back to the left on an addition problem, that means we are adding a negative number, all right? And the question is, how much did we go? All right, well, if we just counted fourths from there, it would be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, right? So it'd be plus -6/4. So if I were writing this problem, I could say 1/4 plus negative 6/4. And if you look at where we ended up at, right, it's negative 1 and 1/4. So if you look, all right, well, these two both start at, well, this one starts at 1/4 and ends at negative 1 and 1/4. So we've got that part right and that part right, right? Now, if you look here, though, wait, I have negative 6/4 and they have negative 1 and 2/4. That's because 4/4 makes 1 right here, right? So when I went from there to there, right? That part there was 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 1/4. And then I went 2/4 more. So negative 6/4 is actually equal to negative 1 and 2/4. Now it matches completely. Again, this part right here would be negative 1. And then this part right here would be negative 2/4, which is the same as going 6/4. So there is our answer right there. Okay, so hopefully you have the idea of how these ones work. Now we go to the next type of problem. You always know you're getting into a new type of problem when they do those little cartoon. Okay, so now they're asking us to find the difference. All right, and they gave us a number line, so we can use it if we want to. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Now I know you guys can't write on your computer screen. I can. So maybe this is something you would do on paper. So negative 1 and 1/8. So here's negative 1. Here's negative 2. Again, just to confirm their eights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So negative 1 and 1/8 would be right there. We're subtracting a positive. That means we're going to go this direction. And how many are we going? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So we went from negative 1 and 1/8 and we subtracted 5/8. And where did we end up at? Well, this is negative 1 and 1/8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this right here would be negative 1 and 6/8. Negative 1 and 6/8 right there. All right. And again, if you were in my math class and not just doing this on iReady, I would always say simplify your answer. And 6/8 would simplify to 3/4. Again, every 2/8 makes a fourth, right? So if we started here from there to there, right, that would be 1/4. And then we would have 2/4 and then 3/4 and then 4/4. All right, can you see that? From negative 1 to negative 2, those markings in fourths. All right, so where we ended up was right here, which is 1, 2, 3/4, negative 1 and 3/4. All right. So I know that iReady will take either answer. They will take negative 1 and 6/8 or negative 1 and 3/4. I'm going to go ahead and model what we should be doing, which is simplifying our fractions. And I'm going to put negative 1 and 3/4 as my answer. All right. Okay, we're going to be finding another difference. All right. And actually, this looks to be very similar to what we just did. Negative 1 and 1/8. They should have given us this one first. I don't know why they did this in reverse order, right? And then, so we're at negative 1 and 1/8, and we go 1. Whoops. We want to grab just the front part, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we end up right where we said at negative 1 and 6/8. All right. What's the difference? Again, same problem. Negative 1 and 6/8, right? But again, right here, if we went by fourths, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. All right. So I'm going to again try to model simplifying, which is something that we should always do with our fractions. Okay. All right. This one is find the sum. It's going to be the same idea. We're going to start at negative 7 and 1/2, and then we're going to go 2 forwards, right? So again, if I were here, I'd go to negative 7 and 1/2, which is right here. And then I need to go 2 full units forward. Now these are halves, right? So if I go from there to there, I've gone a half. So there's 1, right? So that's plus 1. And then if I do it again, that's now plus another 1. So those two combined is plus 2. And where did I end up at? Well, this is -6. This is -5. So this is -5 and 1/2. -5 and 1/2. Didn't come out any better the second time, did it? All right, -5 and 1/2. There's my answer, which should make sense because -7 plus 2 would give me -5 with that extra half on there. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and skip up. Let's see where practice 10 takes us. All right, what are we doing on practice 10? Okay, very similar. -5 and 1/3 plus 2 and 2/3 on the number line. So if we started at -5 and 1/3, we're right here, right? And they want us to go 2 full units plus 2/3 more. All right, so let's think about it. If I want to go 1 unit from -5 and 1/3, if I want to go up 1 full unit, I'm going to end up at -4 and 1/3, right? That's 1 unit. How do I know it's 1? Because it's 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, right? And if I do it again, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, another one puts me at -3 and 1/3. And then I want to go 2 and 2/3. So I go 2/3 more. And where do I end up at? -2 and 2/3. So I started at -5 and 1/3. I went 1, 2, 2/3 more, and I end up at -2 and 2/3. All right, so they want us to do it here. So I'm going to do it. There we go. -5 and -5 and 1/3, my bad. And then we saw we went up to -2 and 1/3. Again, every 3 steps. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, excuse me, I went too far. It's a good thing I'm checking my answer. All right, there we go. All right, so that was number 10. All right, how about we skip up to say number 13? What do they have going on at number 13? Find the difference. Oh, and they did not give us a number line or anything. I wonder if the next question is going to give us a number line. Let me check real quick and see if 14 gives us a number line based on number 13. All right, they did not. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to number 13. All right, here we go. So back to number 13. So -0.8 minus a -1.6. All right, so first of all, subtracting a negative, we need to remember, is the same as adding a positive. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So let me, since they didn't give us a number line, I'm going to go ahead and make up my own little number line here. All righty, so I'm going to go like this. Get this out of the way. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and put 0. Now, these are decimals, right? So I need to go by tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's +1. Okay. And so these are all tenths. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would be -0.5. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this would be +0.5. All right, so where do we want to be? We want to be at -0.8. So there's negative, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right here is -0.8, and it wants us to go up 1.6. All right, so one full from -0.8. Remember, these are in tenths, right? So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I end up at 0.2. Let me try to do that a little bit better here. So 0.2, that's the one part, but then I have to go 6 more from there, right? So all that is plus 1, all right, because it was 10 tenths, which is 1. And then I have to go 6 tenths more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then I'm going to go 6 tenths more. And where do I end up at? 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 0.8. All right. So negative 0.8 plus 1.6 is equal to positive 0.8. Now, real quick, what if we didn't have the number line? Okay. What if I gave you this problem? Let me get rid of the decimals. What if I gave you just this problem? Okay. If I said, what's negative 8 plus 16, and I want you to do it without a number line. Have we learned how to do that? We have. We say, what do I have more of? I have more positives. And how many more positives do I have? Well, I have 8 more positives. How do I know I have 8 more positives? Because I could do 16 minus 8 is 8, right? And I would get 8 more positives. So guess what? If I put decimals in front, I just get that 0.8, and there it is. It works the same, right? So negative 0.8 plus 1.6. What do I have more of? I have more positives. How many more positives do I have? 0.8. But this number line model, that's the way that we've been doing it. So I wanted to make sure I showed you that way as well. Okay. All right. The next problem, similar idea. Find the difference. Negative 2/8 minus a negative 5/8. Again, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. All right. So if I were on the number line, I'm just going to do a quick sketch of this one. Okay. So here's 0. Here's negative 1/8, negative 2/8. So I'm not going to draw the whole thing in. And then I have to go 5/8 to the right. Well, if I go 1/8, 2/8, 3, 4, let me just put some more eights in here. Okay. So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8. So where am I at? So 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, right? Excuse me, let me try that again. It should be, we're doing 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I did 6. Come on, Mr. Reeves, be careful. We got to be careful. 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5. So this is 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. All right. I knew the answer was supposed to be 3/8, and here's why. Because again, if we were doing what I was talking about with you just a minute ago, if we were instead of the eighths just doing negative 2 plus 5, what's negative 2 plus 5? Well, hopefully you ask yourself, what do you have more of? You have more positives. How many more positives do you have? 3, right? So if it works the same, negative 2/8 plus 5/8, since we have a common denominator, what do we have more of? We have more positive 8s. How many more positive 8s do we have? 3/8. So the answer to this one would be 3 on the top and 8 on the bottom. 3/8. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's skip up a little bit to, how about 17? Let's try number 17, see what we got. Okay, which number makes the equation true? All right, and then they give us some choices here. Now let's think about it. If we're going from 5.1 to 3.1, we're going down. Do you agree? It's getting smaller. I'm going from 5.1 to 3.1. So I'm going to the left, right? And I'm adding. What kind of numbers do we add to go to the left? We add negative numbers to go to the left. So it's not going to be one of these two. So the question is it 5.1 plus negative 2 that gives me 3.1? Or is it 5.1 plus negative 1.9 that gives me 3.1? Well, I hope you can see that from 5.1 to 3.1, I went down 2, right? 5.1 to 3.1 is down 2, and going down 2 is the same as adding negative 2. So that one is plus negative 2. 5.1 plus negative 2 is 3.1. All right, let's take a look at the next one. All right, this time they've given us fractions. 3.8 plus something, again, is going to be negative 3.8. So again, 3.8 is here, negative 3.8 is here. It's getting smaller, so we know we are going to add a negative. Now, this time, all of the choices were negative. And the question is, sorry, it's not 3.8. My apologies. Should pay closer attention, Mr. Reeves. 3/8 and negative 3/8. There we go. That's better. All right. So the question is, how do I get from there to there, right? Well, let's just take a look real quickly here. Zero's exactly in the middle. Do you guys agree that zero's exactly in the middle? And to get from there to there, what do I have to do? I go down 3/8, right? From there to there, that's down 3/8. Whoops. If I actually had the markings, which I don't, all right, it would be 3/8 going that way, and then it would be 3 more eights going that way, right? Does that make sense, guys? 3/8 to 0 is 3/8. 0 to negative 3/8 is 3/8, and you put those together, and what do you get? You get negative 6/8, which is right there. By the way, again, negative 6/8 would simplify to negative 3/4 if that is one of the answers they were giving us, which it was not. But we should know that is correct. Okay. Which number makes the equation true? All right. So once again, we have two negatives. No, actually, we didn't have two negatives. All right. Now we're actually getting larger, aren't we? Negative 8.5. And over here is negative 5.5. And if I said, which direction did we go? We're getting larger. So that means we have to add a positive number. Now, how far is it from negative 8 to negative 5? Do you agree it's 1, 2, 3? Plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, right? Negative 8.5, this would be negative 7.5. This would be negative 6.5. And then we get to negative 5.5. So what are we looking for? We're looking for plus 3. We're looking for plus 3. All right. So how about if we skip up now? Let's go into the 20s. How about, say, question 21? What do they have for us here? What number makes the equation true? So it's like what we're doing, but now they're just saying they want it to be a positive number. All right, so let me ask you, if I were on the number line, you know what? Let's go ahead and actually make a straighter number line. We'll do a better job here, okay? All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and put 0 here. And again, these are tenths, right? This is decimals. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is negative 1. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would be negative 7/10. All right, and they want to know, what number do I add to make it positive? Well, over here are positive numbers, so I need to go to the right. Can you add a negative number and go to the right? The answer is no. You could subtract a negative number, so it's neither of those. Now, this is 5/10 and this is 1 2/10. If I go 5/10 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go 5/10, I'm still in the negatives, right? I'm still at negative 0.2 because 7 is bigger than 5. The absolute value of negative 0.7 is greater than the absolute value of 0.5. So this one is not going to work. I need to go 1.2. All right, 1.2 is going to get me across that finish line. All right. Okay. What do we got next? Which number makes the equation true? Well, now we're doing just the opposite, right? So now we have a number line. Okay. Here we go. All right. 5 3/4. Okay. This is going to be a little bit more tricky to map out. So 0. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. All right. So, and then they want us to do fourths. So that would be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, these aren't super even. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you're going, why are you counting off 3 when they're fourths? Because this line is the fourth one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you count that line, we have fourths. All right, so then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's negative 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's negative 2. I could throw a couple more in there before I run out of space. Okay, so there's my number line. 5 and 3/4 is where I'm starting. So 5, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So there is 5 and 3/4. Okay. And they want my answer to be a negative number. All right. They want my answer to be a negative number. Well, everything here is positive until I get to over here. All right. So somewhere over here will be a negative number. They didn't tell us what that number is, but we have to get past 0, right? So everything to the right of 0 is positive. Everything to the left of 0 is negative. So what kind of number are we going to have to add? Are we going to add a positive number? Or are we going to add a negative number? Well, we're going to have to add a negative number, and that negative number is going to have to get us all the way across. Okay, unfortunately, I did not pull up the choices before I did my little drawing. All right, so -6, -5, +5, and +6, okay? So our choices are -6, -5, +5, and +6. All right, well, right off the bat, we can scratch off the positives because when you add a positive, that would be going that way, right? So if I did +5 or +6, that would take me in the wrong direction. I don't want to do that. All right, if I go -5, do you see right here, I'm at -5, and that -5 would take me to 0, right? That's that distance. If I go that same distance from here, I'm not going to make it, right? If I go 5 over, I'm still going to end up right here at 3/4. Okay, so this right here would be 3/4. So if you did 5 and 3/4 minus 5, you're still at 3/4, which is a positive number. However, if I take away 6, that's going to get me across that number line, that finish line, excuse me, which is 0. Okay. All righty, so let's go ahead now. What was that? That was in the early 20s. Let's see what they have at, say, how about 26? What do they have for us at 26? All right, now they want us to add two numbers and they don't have a common denominator. All right, so the first thing they're asking us for is what is the common denominator? So the common denominator is the number that both denominators go into. All right. And we're looking for usually the smallest one they both go into. Now it says what is a common denominator. All right. So if we were looking for what 2 and 8 both go into, well, 2 goes into 6, but 6 doesn't go into 8, right? 2 goes into 18. 8 does not go into 18. 2 goes into 12, but 8 doesn't go into 12. 8 is the only common multiple of both 2 and 8. It's the only thing they both go into. All right? So we don't have a choice. We're going to choose 8, which is not just a common denominator, it is the least common denominator. All right, so we know we want them both to be 8. So model -1/8 and -1/2 on the number line. -1 and 1/8, excuse me, plus -1 and 1/2. Plus -1/2, excuse me. All right, so -1 and 1/8. Well, if we look here, again, we have 8s, right? 1, 2, 3. I shouldn't have done that. All right, we got 1, 2, 3. There's 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. So -1 and 1/8. Well, there's -1. Can I move this back? right? There's -1, so there's -1 1/8. Now they want us to go back a half, but again, these are in eighths. So the question is -1/8, -1/2, excuse me, is how many eighths? How many eighths? What do I have to do here? Well, I'm going to have to multiply by not 2. I'm going to have to multiply by 4, right? -2 times 4 is going to give me -8, right? And 1 times 4 is 4. So 1/2 is 4/8. And you guys knew that, right? Half of 8 is 4. So that means from here, I need to go 4 of these eighths, right? So there again, there's -1 and 1/8. So that's 1/8. 2, whoops. There we go. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. All right. And then where do I end up with? What is this number right here? Well, that's -1 and 4/8. So this one is -1 and 5/8. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4/8 minus 4/8 or plus a -4/8 as the case is. So what is the answer that we're looking for? -1 and 5/8. All right. So that's what they're going to ask us to put here. -1. And by the way, 5/8 does not simplify because there is not a common factor other than 1 that goes into 5 and also goes into 8. All right. 2/3 minus 8/9. 2/3 minus 8/9. How can we model this with a common denominator? All right, so we're looking for something that 3 and 9 both go into. Well, 3 goes into 6, but 9 does not. So it can't be either of these two, right? So the common denominator the least common denominator 3 and 9 both go into is 9. So the question is it 4/9 minus 8/9 or is it 6/9 minus 8/9? So my question to you is if I have 2/3 and when I'm done, I want that denominator to be 9, what do I have to multiply by? Well, 3 times 3 is 9. So what do I get? I get 6/9. So what we want is 6/9 minus 8/9, which by the way is going to turn out to be -2/9, right? Because we're going to go 6 and then we're going back 8. -2/9, Mr. Reeves, not -2 seconds. All right, so 6/9 minus 8/9 is going to be -2/9. Oh, they want us to model it on the number line. All right. Oh, they just gave us the number line here. We don't actually have to use it. Okay, since we already figured out the answer. All right. Again, 2/3 minus 8/9 is 6/9. Let me just show you anyway, real quickly on here. 6/9, right? 6/9 would be right here, 6/9, and then we're taking away 1/9, 2/9, 3/9, 4/9, 5/9, 6/9, 7/9, 8/9, right? And there we go. So that is 6/9. Whoops, get that out of the way. 6/9 minus 8/9. By the way, I didn't even emphasize it, but subtracting a positive moves us to the left, right? If we were subtracting a negative or adding a positive, we would have gone to the right, but subtracting a positive, we go to the left. All right. Okay, what do we have here? Let's jump all the way up towards the end. How about like question number 30? All right, so we've got a car. It says Charlotte is practicing her lap time for an upcoming race. She knows that the average lap time is 34.5 seconds. What is the difference? What is the difference between these two? So 36.9 and 34.5. Well, again, we're subtracting a positive, right? We're subtracting a positive. So we would be at 36.9, and then we're going to subtract 34.5. And the question is, where do we and up. All right, see, this is an example of where using a number line really doesn't make sense. All right, 36.9, and I'm going to subtract 34.5. This goes back to, okay, well, now I'm going to go back to that old-fashioned decimal subtraction here. 9 minus 5 is 4, 6 minus 4 is 2, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So what do we get? We get 2.4 2.4 seconds. And if we were to check our answer, all right, 34.5, if we added that 2.4 seconds on there, what do we get? We get 36.9. Thank you, which is what we were supposed to have. All right. Sorry, throwing myself off here. Okay, so 2.4 is the answer that we are looking for. 2.4, Mr. Reeves, not 2.5. We need to be careful. All right, maybe one more. Oh, is that it? All right, here we go. No, I think we just have an internet blurb. All right. So, what is the difference between her lap time in trial 2 and the lap time for the track? All right. 34.2 minus 34.5. All right. So, now if you take a look at these, all right, subtracting a positive 34.2 and 34.5, subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative, and it comes down to what do we have more of? So again, we're going to have to subtract the absolute value, and what do we get? We get 0.3. But what did we have more of? We had more negatives. So the answer is actually a negative 0.3. All right. What is the difference between her lap time in trial 2 and the time? So she came in 3 seconds under the average time. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Hopefully, this was helpful to you. Again, just a reminder, you don't have to do this all at once. You can stop and then I believe you can come back. But at times, if you need to just stop and take a break, take a breather, get a drink, get a bite to eat, give your brain a little bit of a break. I know that this is a lot to do. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you next time.